Okay, welcome to our August 12th meeting. I call the meeting to order and begin with our public participation. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to meetings and all other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings, but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board for the public's information. This meeting is being recorded. So our next part would be announcements. Under announcements, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. out here at Smith Academy Park will be a Purple Heart ceremony. The town may remember we have declared the town a Purple Heart community. So there'll be a small ceremony tomorrow at 10 a.m. if you can make it. And those are my announcements. Do my colleagues have any announcements?
I have none.
I have none.
Okay. Is anybody here for public forum? No? Now, I've been asked by the police department to take the topics out of order, if that's okay with my colleagues. I want to call up Lieutenant Clint Phillips with an announcement. He's requesting an appointment to the police department.
Good evening. I would like to introduce everybody to Joe Dozier. He recently graduated the full-time academy back in May, and he has applied for a part-time position with the Hatfield Police Department. He was interviewed by myself and the chief. We feel like he could be a very good fit for this town and quite possibly a very good addition for future years.
Well, thank you for applying to Hatfield. We appreciate your application, and I don't have any questions unless my colleagues have any questions
I have
on this.
none. I'm glad you're interested in working here, and you're welcome to be here.
Okay. So with that being said, if I have a motion,
Sure. I'll make a motion to appoint Joe Dozier as a Hatfield police officer in the part-time position.
motion made,
Second?
motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Oh, congratulations. Welcome to
Congratulations.
Hatfield.
Excellent.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Okay. That was painless, right?
How was that?
Okay, I'm going to move to approval of July 15th, 2025 and July 21st, 2025 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve July 15th and July 21st, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second?
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Posted business. Topic 1 would be change of manager at Kazimierza, Lodge 1975, from Richard Ross to Gary Hebert. It's also known as the Hatfield Polish Club. So I think Gary's going to do a great job over there. I have no opposition to this application. Do any of my colleagues have any opposition to this application?
I do not. I think he's going to do a great job.
Done.
So do I have a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion to approve the change of manager for TOWS David Casimir GP 1965 Z.N.P. from Richard Ross to Gary Hebert.
I'll second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. And I don't know if you want to make any comments while you're here.
No, I think we have some changes we're going to make. It'll for the better, and we're just waiting to hear from Boston, which hopefully will be sometime soon. Who knows?
So I don't know if we sign this now, whether they need this now, or they can wait till tomorrow, or how.
Completely up to you. If you want to sign it right now, and they can go home.
Do you
with it.
need this right now?
I'm dealing. I'm actually not doing it myself. The woman right here in the
Karen will take care of it.
yeah, she said, "Hey, take care of paperwork."
Okay, so.
Okay. You'll sign it, Karen will take care of it, and as long as she's out this week, is that okay?
Yeah, she told me she was going on vacation.
But I'm
so-
sure she did.
Yeah,
Good. All
okay.
right, she takes care of
All
everything.
right, thank you. Have a
Very
good
good.
night.
Excellent.
I don't know. She said.
Okay, topic 2 is select board to vote whether or not to accept Mass General Laws C-130, Section 12D, change of license clarification. And add, Andrew, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The way I read this is presently anybody that has a malt and wine license will be allowed to change it to an all alcoholic license.
That's correct. And one of the key provisions in here that it's non-transferable. So if they do give up that license for any reason, it's not like whoever were to purchase it would then be purchasing an all alcohol license. It would go back to being a wine and malt license. But this does give the ability to local licensing boards to allow those who have the wine and malt license to apply to then switch to a all alcohol license, and they would have to actually request it and want it. So we only have one in town that has.
So just to
wine and malt.
clarify, they can request, if we approve it, they can request their malt and wine to be an all alcoholic, but if they no longer are in business, it reverts back to a malt and wine?
That's correct. It's
Okay.
non-transferable.
It's non-transferable,
Yep.
okay. So,
And then they would have to reapply if they wanted to go back up the other way. If they want to be all liquor.
Yeah, whoever were to take on the
That'll
license
just-
would then
okay.
need to,
Gotcha.
apply.
All right.
and how many establishments do we have presently with malt and wine licenses?
Only one on premise, and that's Smithsonian.
Smithsonian's the only one, okay.
Mhm.
Any comments?
I mean, it ultimately, they still have to come before the board, correct? And we would still
Yeah.
then have to approve it, so. I think there is still a system of checks and balances here for us.
Mhm.
It doesn't automatically just change over, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Uh,
so we still have to approve it if they apply for it.
So you'd have to accept it, and then they would request a trade-in.
Right.
They would submit an application, then you'd have to accept that application.
Right.
And I mean, at one time, we were only allowed so many licenses. I forget how many, but I don't think we've met the quota yet on all alcoholic licenses.
We have not.
Okay.
No, we still have, I believe, 2 remaining right now.
All right. So, but then I don't know if that is part of the quota, if they had a malt and wine and they switched to all alcoholic. I'm not sure if that,
It says in the last paragraph here that the license for wines and malt beverages traded in for all alcoholic beverages does not increase the total number of licenses authorized.
all right, that clarifies
But I think
that.
it also wouldn't take the spot of another
Correct.
all alcohol.
Okay.
This doesn't raise a cap or anything.
Right.
Sounds good.
I mean, I don't have an issue with this if, I mean, if.
I
whatever
don't. I don't have an issue with this at all.
Problem with it.
Okay, if none of us have an issue, then do I have a
I'll make a
motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the town of Hatfield to accept Mass General Law C-138, Section 12D, change of license classification.
Second.
Okay, motion made, motion seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so that takes care of 2. Topic 3, update on opiate committee and new national opiate settlement with Purdue. Now, if anybody's been following the national news, over the years, there's been a lawsuit against manufacturer of opiates and some other drugs. So supposedly, they've come to some type of settlement on payment. But the only way a town or a city can get any payment is if we appoint a signatory, like our town administrator is signatory, and we have to apply for this by September 25th, I believe.
So you don't even need to appoint me. I think you as a board have the ability to do it, but if you do appoint me, then I can just sign the paperwork when it comes in, so we don't have to worry about anything. So this vote tonight will just say that you do intend to join into the settlement and that you'll give me the authority to do so for you, just so that we can move that forward faster. But I can always have it go to the chair of the select board if you prefer to. But
See,
you're absolutely right that we do need to opt into this settlement.
Well, by having you as signatory, it just speeds up the process and we don't have to have meetings to sign and all that. I don't have a problem with that myself. I don't know if my colleagues have any issues with that.
And I will say there are 2 settlements that are expected. So one of them we've already been given the paperwork for, and that's for Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family. And that's quite a large settlement. It's over $9 million across the
Whole
country.
United States, right?
It's a lot compared to the other. I mean, when it comes down to us, we'll get whatever thousands of dollars it is, but that's still good. It will add that to the amount that we already have that we're working with. And there's another settlement with a number of opioid manufacturers that I had never heard of. These are some smaller manufacturers, and I think that's more like $700 million will go into that settlement, which a lot of money, but by the time it gets to us, it will be very small.
Well, I like the idea of having you signatory, and then when we finally get the settlement, then we can have at one of our meetings to determine what to do with that money, because
Exactly.
that's another thing we'll have to determine afterwards.
And we have this opioid settlement task force that's been meeting. They would like to present at your next meeting. They've put a great report together about the survey that they did, asking the public for their thoughts on how to use those opioid funds. So they'll be presenting that to you at your next meeting, and we can talk about some ideas on how to move forward. And I'm sure they'd love to hear your thoughts as well on what might be next. So they've been doing great work on that. Where we kind of arrived the other day with our meetings is, what can we set up that will have a positive impact on the town to fight to work within the areas that are most important based on the survey on $10,000 a year for the next 10 years, because it's essentially what we have. And it's not a bad amount of money to be working with. So $10,000 a year for the next 10 years. And it might even be more than that after these settlements.
Okay.
Cool.
Any more comments? Okay, then do I have a motion to have Andrew as a signatory on this?
Make a motion to authorize the town administrator signatory on the settlements with Purdue Pharma and opioid manufacturers.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Next topic 4. This is a tough one. Hampshire County Group Insurance has increased their rates for our employees to 20%, which is a huge jump. So that sort of means any type of raise or increase our employees received this last time around, it gets wiped out, which I don't think is fair, and I don't think it's right. So in my mind, I think we should come up with a way to cover this additional cost, but also go back to Hampshire County and say, you guys have to make some changes, because you could have made changes over the years on how you administer these policies, but you didn't. And you had no deductibles, and you had some other stuff that you allowed that maybe there should have been co-pays on it. And also at the same token, I think we have to shop around to see if there's any other insurances that is good for our employees. So I just mentioned like 3 things. So the first thing would be this increase. So as far as my feelings, I think we should somehow come up with a way to cover it, because I don't think our employees should be punished. But that's just me. But I'm opening it up to my colleagues for how they feel about this.
And if you want any more background from me, I'm happy
Yes,
to
go right
to
ahead.
assist as well. But I think I try my best to keep all of you and our employees up to date on what's going on here. Not sure if the public has been as informed on this, but I'm happy to inform the public as well. But the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust at their meeting last month voted for a mid-year increase that takes effect October 1st of 20%. And that's the amount that they will have the town contribute towards our health insurance. So we get a bill from the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, and that bill will now be 20% higher. That will be issued to us in September and due to us October 1st. And to pay that bill, we typically we have an amount that's been budgeted through taxpayer funds, and then an amount that employees contribute. And right now, we split that amount 60% from the town, 40% from employees on these premiums. So what we do need to determine is on this increase right now, this means that the town pays 20% more and that our employees pay 20% more. What we could do from the town side is take on a greater share of the health insurance premiums. And I've written out some scenarios of what that could look like that either increase or will typically decrease the amount that our employees pay. And it decreases the amount they pay of this new increase of the 20%. What that would mean is that eventually we would need an additional appropriation. We're in a better position than a lot of other communities. A lot of other communities are trying to scramble right now to find a lot of funding in order to cover this. We had a good amount of contingency that was budgeted for this year, which is great. But even with that, even if we were to split at the current amount that we do with our employees 60-40, we would still end up with a shortfall. And that shortfall will probably either hit in May or June of this year. So the question will be, how much do we want to try to take on for employees? Would we want this change in percentage to also extend to retirees? You have the option to split that up if you like. And then do we feel like we need any action now for appropriation in the form of a special town meeting or anything else? I would say that we should be able to cover these bills that come in until May or June. So we probably should be okay to go until May for an appropriation. But at the same time, if you know that there will be more funding that's needed, you may want to ask the taxpayer sooner for if they feel like they can make that contribution. So that's a short introduction. I'm happy to answer more questions. The spreadsheets that I handed out to you tonight show you a couple things. So there's two of them. One of them says FY26 health budget at the top. And what I've shown you is the number of members that we have on each of the plans and how employees would be asked to pay more. This is for the rest of the year. So you see if they pay 60%, if the town pays 60%, they pay 40 like they currently do. The impact on employees under the PPO family plan, they'd be paying $1,900 more for the year. Under the Network Blue family plan, it's $2,500 more for the year. That doesn't sound right because the PPO should be higher. So I'll check those numbers again. But you're seeing no, that's the town portion. Would be, all right, I'll have to check on that number. But it's still a significant amount that employees will be asked to take on.
So under the last one, the Network Blue,
Yep.
if they pay the 20%, the employees, they would go from an additional $2,500 a year. Is that what we're saying, or is that?
It is. I'm just checking that number, though. That seems a little higher than I was expecting. Good either. No, I'll update those numbers for you, but it's still illustrative of. I think it's a little high there, but it should be probably closer to 1,800 for the family, because this should be a little less than the PPO number. But I'll update that for you.
But I mean, we don't need to make a decision tonight, right? Or do we need to make a decision tonight?
Well, that'll be up to you. So we will be billing shortly for next month's premiums for members. So they do need to have information shortly. We
So
do need to
if
know.
we don't act tonight, then both our employees and the town will be paying 20% more.
Right. So we would keep employees at the 60% that they currently are responsible for.
And if they,
At the 40% they're responsible for, the town is 60.
so their premium for just for like next month, if we don't make any action, and their family plan would go up from their monthly cost of what to what would be the increase in cost for that month on our employees? Is it another $200? Is it another
It'd be-
$400 or
Probably upwards of 100 a month.
$100 more a month?
Yeah, around that.
So we're talking $1,200.
It depends which plan that the employees are on. And this is for the next 9 months because it's a mid-year increase. So from October through June, they'd be paying this rate.
So on the upper plan or that family plan, they would be paying out of pocket another $900 then for the next 9 months.
That's right. $900 for the next. Yep.
That's significant.
Mhm.
So if you said the cost of living we gave them would sort of get wiped out.
And plus, they just got an 18% increase in July.
So that number that I gave you, there, that should have been $1,700. Sorry about that. I had a spreadsheet error.
I think the numbers that we need to know is the difference of what they're spending now versus what the increase will give them. I think that'd be the most helpful number for us to be able to make a decision.
So what are they paying now? So how much more would they be paying over the next 9 months?
20% increase.
Yep.
'Cause, I mean, I can't do the 20% of $1,932.48. I mean,
So,
could, but-
and that's what this was supposed to show, but unfortunately I made an error here. So the additional cost to employee for this next year with the increase,
Mhm.
the number for the Blue Care Elect single is correct. And that would be $700 more for the year. So someone who's on the PPO single, it's $700 more. For the
For
PPO
12 months or for 9 months?
for 9 months,
Okay.
$700 for 9 months. So,
For the whole 9 months.
So it's $80 a month.
yep. Yep, 78.64 per month. And that's if we continue with the 60-40 split.
So then if you go down to Network Blue Single, it says their premium is 1,006, and then 60% of that is 1,476.
Nope, that number should be, I can give you the right one now, 60408.
Okay.
Yep, sorry about that. For the 2-member, it's 1406. And for the family, it's 1733. So if you're on the family HMO plan, then you're spending $192 more a month.
So
the
192
60
times 9 is,
We have 13 folks on that plan.
yeah, 1728.
So as it sits right now, if we were to not change anything and keep it at 60%, what is the additional money that's needed on the town's end just to cover that, on that 20% increase? Is that the other spreadsheet?
Great
the
question.
86?
So yep, turn to the other spreadsheet, and that would show you that the appropriation needed, if we have the current number of enrollees that we currently do, and that's with 3 people who just joined in the last week, which is why the numbers that I gave you before don't work anymore. That's 86,269. So that's our current appropriation that will be needed. Now, what I wanted to run for you is what if more people join? And in the spreadsheet below, you'll see that if 2 more people join, 1 single and 1 family, both I did the PPO just because that's higher, that would then become $110,000 that would be needed if we keep the 60/40. And if 2 more single and 2 more family join, that's $133,000. So even if we do nothing to increase it, the amount that we're paying for employees, just if more people join the health insurance, that drives up that appropriation needed, drives up the deficit further. And that
Okay,
could
and
easily
so out
happen
of that-
because we still have
It
employees that are
dries up
joining.
for both, right? It dries up for us and it dries up for the employee.
Yeah, the employees are still paying more, right? Because they have the 20%.
So out of that 86,269,
Yep.
you said that we were over budgeted for our health insurance line last year anyway?
Count the over budgeted amount. It'd be 86,000 total that's needed.
Is that how much more we need?
Yeah, that's how much more we would need.
Oh, on top of what we have.
Right.
86,000 on top of what we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was over budgeted, but it wasn't anticipated to be 20% increase.
That's right. That's right.
So what's the increase being then?
Sorry, what's the question?
What is it being, what is the increase being to us? If this is 85,000 or 86,000, that's an increase of what we had set aside to pay for all this.
Sure. So the,
That's
the
less than what
budget
we're paying.
request, the budgeted amount we have right now is $1,023,000. If we pay 60% of employees' health insurance and nobody else joins over what we have right now, then the total spend that we'll need for the year is 1.1 million and change. So that puts us at the 86,000 short that we are right now.
Okay.
And I anticipate that will grow because more people will join the insurance. Schools are not done hiring. We have an open position in DPW that we'll probably try to fill. Someone could join in that way. Someone could leave the town and who doesn't have insurance. Someone could come on who would need the insurance. Things happen throughout the year. So we don't know the exact number right now.
Something's not making sense.
Keep it coming if there's more.
So
Numbers that don't
back
make sense.
on other sheet 4.
The
So
original one given to you?
yes.
Yeah. And those are with old numbers from July of who our members were, and that's changed in the past
Okay.
3 weeks.
So our new FY26 payment to HCGIT,
Yep.
the 1.76 million. We budgeted for 1.003 million.
Yep. And that, so the 1.76, that counts the employee premiums. So when I say we budgeted for 1.029, that's just a town's portion.
Right.
So
Plus the 622,000
that the employees
employees
would
pay.
contribute. Exactly.
So on this sheet, we have a remaining balance of 108,000.
Mm-hmm. And that's the 108 that's getting eaten up by. So when Greg said, what are we over?
Mm-hmm.
We're 86,000 over plus that 108 would capture the amount more that we need. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
We're only at, so in my original numbers here, I thought we'd need an appropriation of $27,000 because the 108, because that amount over budget, that contingency that we had took up most of it. It was only $27,000 over. But now it's higher because of the number of employees that we have on the insurance. It's gotten bigger.
So it's the 108 minus the 86, 269. Is that where you're getting to 27,000?
So, yeah, in this original model, the amount that would be remaining at 108 equals, you see the employee contribution at 40%.
Yep.
Um,
But didn't we already?
they would pay 81,000 through that contribution, and then the appropriation needed would be 27,000. So 27 plus 81 would get you the 108.
But isn't the 622,000 what you already factored in for employee contributions? Why are we doing it?
That's the increase.
That's the 81,000 is just the
Would have been that
20%
increase, yeah. Would have been the employee contribution on that increase.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
So in this model, we would only be appropriating 27,000.
Yeah, and that was before I found out how many more people had joined the health insurance.
Yeah.
So here it says that the new monthly rate is 152,372. That's how much money we needed to get to the trust. In reality, the number is, let me find it. Based on our new numbers. $160, $136. And that's based on the numbers from last week, but we even have more employees coming on. So our monthly bill is going to be even higher than this one that I assumed here.
Can you, maybe I'm missing this.
Yep.
How are we getting from 27 to 86? How many more employees joined? Because on your other, by adding an additional an additional family plan, 2 singles and 2 family plans, it only went up by 57,000. So how did we make a jump from 27 for an appropriation to 86?
Yeah, and the new numbers that I have now would say that we have, I think it's 5 more employees than I had in my original. And
Right, but I'm just
yeah,
thinking,
yep.
you
that's
know,
fine.
like if you have like 2 more in the numbers that you ran on the other impact sheets.
Yep.
2 more single and 1 additional family or 2 additional families on that bottom number, that's still only bringing it up by, 50 something thousand.
So 27,000 needed to 86,000, you'd have a delta of about 60,000.
Correct.
And there's $5,500 as well that I found out today is budgeted from that same line item for life insurance premiums as well. So it's a nominal amount, but 55 plus the 5,500 plus the 55,000 would probably get us up to that 60,000 difference between the 86 and the 27,000. So a small number there, but yeah.
So I guess the question is whether we feel compelled to take some of the 20% hit or leave the employees taking a 20% hit or coming up with some other scenario, which I'm not sure of.
I mean, either way, we're still taking a 20% hit already. It's just if we want to incur a 30 or 40% hit.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So it's whether we want to share some of that or not.
What's the feeling in terms of between talking with other towns and stuff about people leaving this trust, or what our other options are?
Yeah, it's a good question because people keep bringing up, well, what do we do next year if we
Right.
go up to a higher percentage or whatever else? I think everyone is thinking we need to be looking at every option available. So there are other options that are available to us. There's the state's group insurance commission. It's a possibility to join that. They offer a number of plans that would be comparable to this. You could argue that the trust's plans are better. They have no deductible and other features that have always made them very attractive to us. But I think we need to look at other options since these premiums have gotten so high. There's also the opportunity to work with the state's Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Agency, MIA, offered through the Mass Municipal Association. They work basically with, I think, over 100 towns to facilitate matching them with different plans. And they do have some, I think, joined risk pools there that are useful for smaller towns. But it's certainly an option that we can look at. So those are two options that stand out right away.
Mhm.
I
But-
think my only concern with changing the percentage share for the town is that it also changes a lot of data moving forward that we have based off of what we've paid in the past. It changes a lot of contracts as well. And then next year, we don't really have something that's as concrete to be able to work back against. We're going to have to compare numbers for new vendors off of 3 months at 60 and then 9 months at 62.4 or whatever. And I think that it might get a little confusing to actually see if we're getting apples for apples. If we keep everything at 60 in the current arrangement that it is, yes, it's unfortunate that the town employee is going to have to pay their share of that 20% increase, but I think it gives us better data to look at for next year in terms of what those numbers actually look like.
I think that's definitely true in some ways. I think part of the challenge of this is regardless, there's a lot of variables that we're playing around with. We'll have to look at, have to ask employees and their unions to think about the difference between moving to plans with deductibles and moving to plans that maybe have lower premiums, but these deductibles or co-pays that might be different. So while I think you're right that is another variable that could be introduced, because we're dealing with so many variables, we'll really need a pretty good analysis of this. And I'm already looking at options for trying to find some folks who've worked in the healthcare industry to help us, better organize this and price this out, and run some good models on this. So I think it will be complicated. Well, I think you're right that this adds a little more complication to it. It'll be your decision on whether you want to take that on. It will still be a complicated process, even if we keep that variable the same.
I have this plan personally, not through Hatfield, but through the trust, and I'm feeling it too. Well, I don't know how this compares to like health insurance that you would get anywhere else as it is. Like if we went out to bid for those other ones, are we going to end up paying more? I mean, is this just kind of bringing it up to where? I mean, we have 71. Is it 71 groups in the trust? A big number like that is very powerful to get these bids and to get the insurance low. I would assume that we have a lower insurance premium already than everybody else, even with this. Would that be accurate or
I feel
no?
like that's tough to say though, because like if Maya has hundreds of different towns in it,
Yeah.
then
Well,
the same could be argued.
yeah. But like with the GIC, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is the GIC, are their rates any different than this now?
They
Yeah, what
offer a
about-
number of choices
do?
in their
Okay.
plans. I looked at some of their rates, say through Health New England. They don't offer Blue Cross Blue Shield like us. So again, you don't have an apples to apples
Yeah.
comparison because it's different coverage. The premiums looked competitive to me. They do have deductibles on those plans,
Mhm.
so that's another thing you'd have to compare. There's an argument that I've heard that the trust was offering really strong plans for prices that could be considered lower than
Oh.
what's out there. Again, the premiums to me looked similar to what I saw in other areas, but the benefits are certainly very good here. So is this just bringing us into line with what healthcare should cost? I don't know. I don't
guess
have
that's what
enough
I'm
to-
asking, yeah.
I don't have enough data to really say that. I think it's possible to look at it that way, but I think at the same time, part of what I want to make sure was clear for this board was just the amount that this is hard for both the town and employees in taking on the extra 20%. So the 40% increase over last year. It's a lot.
Do you think we need more information before making a decision? And if so, what information would you be requesting?
I don't think I need any more information. I mean, it's just, this is tough for me on all sides because, everybody's insurance is going to go up.
Correct. I mean,
And it's going to go up for us, and then we're going to go to the taxpayers,
Mhm.
whose insurance is probably also going up, and ask them to pay us more.
I know
It just keeps going on and going.
my private sector job, we had a roughly 20% increase this year as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this is something that's necessarily affecting just the public sector. And I got 20% more taken out of my paycheck every week, and yeah, it's tough. I mean, no one wants to spend more money, but I don't know if it's not like you just touched on. I don't know if it's the burden of the taxpayers to incur that additional 20% that the employees are being asked to contribute.
I guess the question becomes, if you're an employer, what expenses should you be taking care of? I mean, in the past, we've covered benefits, we've covered a percentage of insurance, we've covered some other aspects of clothing allowance or whatever. So I guess whether the points you make are very solid and very realistic, but on one hand, it's a big chunk. Whether even if we went up to 62%, it would make them a little bit, take away, instead of them paying 20%, it'd be paying like 10 or 12%. And of course, we would take on the burden of the additional 20 plus 30, but that would mean a little bit more for us. So
But then does that set an expectation that if there's another 20% increase in another 4 years, that the town's going to then take on another 2.5%?
well, it's
And now
only
we're
an
at 70, 30.
expectation if that's what we feel should be voted, but if we don't vote for it, it's not an expectation. I mean, sometimes they use this for contract negotiations, saying, okay, for the contracts, we're willing to increase, a certain percentage on insurance to help out, or sometimes it isn't. Just came at a bad time. It just came out of nowhere because the trust is in trouble, and some of their trouble we shouldn't have to suffer for, but we are. I mean, everybody in the trust is suffering right now because there's what, a $14 million loss in that trust.
It
It's
was
like
about $8 to $9 million over 5 months.
And unfortunately, other insurance plans, you can't get in until like June or July. I mean, like the state for GIC, they tend to pay 80%. So we've paid 60, but people like the plan because there's been no deductibles, correct? There's no deductibles in your plan.
There's some, yeah.
Oh, there are?
I believe there are for certain things, but
Okay,
not very many at all.
all right.
There's not very many deductibles. And, yeah, they're going to have to add that kind of stuff onto it too, which will affect everybody. But also at the same time, this isn't affecting every single employee of the town,
It's affecting those that take the health insurance.
just the people, yeah, the people that take the health insurance.
I mean, like Greg, like you say, you have a similar plan. Would you expect your employer to then increase their contribution rate because the rates went up across the board for both private or for both
I don't
the member and
I don't expect them to do that.
Right.
I don't think they will be doing that.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I think we've given I feel like we've given what we can for everybody for raises and what we could afford. And I think that if we increase this, which I kind of want to because I feel for them and I want to keep our employees, but at the same time, that we've told all the employees that this is all we can do, and that was all we could do, like for giving people raises and getting everybody up to what their earnings is, and that would be helping only, again, the people that have insurance through us. We won't be helping the people that don't have insurance through us, who are probably also feeling this, but not directly through us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the person who elected to not take a plan through us, I'm fairly confident in saying that they probably also faced the health insurance increase.
Right, and we weren't able to give them any help, so
Right.
it's just,
So
I think that's
get the
fair. And
indication
you also
from-
have, I mean, for an employee, if they're making, say, $50,000 a year, their COLA this year was 2.7%, and that translates to 50. So if they're on the family plan, and that's been negated by this increase, which we didn't budget for and wasn't planned. So
Right.
I just, for the folks who made their budgets coming into this year, this is a cost they weren't expecting. And while they have the opportunity to leave the plan on health insurance, they don't necessarily have the opportunity to say go onto a spouse's plan or something else because it's not a qualifying event for them. And they also don't have they have the opportunity to move from our HMO to our PPO, but that wouldn't be a very large savings compared to, sorry, they can go from PPO to the HMO. That still wouldn't be a very large savings compared to the amount of the hit they'd be getting.
So if I'm hearing both of you guys right, you want to leave it as is. Would that
I'd
be
like to
correct?
leave it as is, and on top of what I just said about comparing employees to employees, I don't want to go back to the taxpayers and ask for more money.
And we already do need to ask the taxpayers for more money. And based on where we're currently at, it could be anywhere between $86,000 to the floor right now. And while I put 133 as your ceiling, it could go higher.
Yeah.
We haven't even discussed what those numbers then move to
Right.
by changing the percentage ask. So
Yeah.
I'm in favor of leaving it at the 60 where it's at.
I am too.
Well, then, that's fine. I guess I don't have a vote on this because that's
well,
fine. That's why there's three of us, because
yeah.
we're not always going to agree, and as long as we can disagree to agree, so, and that's okay. But we can always come back and revisit this at any time, so that's okay. So I'll leave it at this topic. I'll leave it open to come back and revisit at a later date.
And if there's more information that would be helpful, please just let me know.
Okay.
But this,
The information you gave us about the homeless, that was going to be one of my questions. So that is helpful to know.
yeah, I mean, and that was based on, say, if someone made $50,000 a year, which plenty of employees make more, some make less, and a COLA of 2.7%, that translates to $1,350 more a year. And for the next 9 months, if they were on, say, that person was on the family plan, they'll be spending $1,700 more. So there goes the COLA.
But I think we also need to visit other plans to see what's available, especially GIC.
That's absolutely something we need to be doing, and that's a solution for next year.
Right.
It will not affect this year and the 40% increase for folks.
And there is a possibility that the state might even help with this because they have asked the senators and the representatives to see if there's any relief from the state. Correct? I
The
mean,
trust has asked for funding from the state. It seems unlikely that that would come, or if it did, it might come with the ask that they use that funding to settle their accounts and shut down and move everyone into the state's plan, which I think is what the state would want to see, but I don't know. I can't speak for the legislators.
that's more likely a scenario of telling them to shut down and go to the state's plan, probably. I suppose.
We don't know where this will head.
Okay.
This is precedent.
So, with that being said, we'll move on to topic 5. So, topic 5, we've already declared the town, and we did the proclamation. I believe this is something I'm supposed to read tomorrow, so I don't need to read it
You don't need
today,
to read it
right?
tonight. Just
Okay.
make sure that people are comfortable with some of the date changes,
Yeah.
word changes. Should be good to go.
Topic 6, water and sewer billing. As most people know, we've always been behind on setting water sewer rates. So there is a proposal to have 4 billings a year to give us a better chance of being correct on setting the rates or doing that, if I believe. This is the proposal from...
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a great meeting with Tony, Marlo, and Tammy and myself, where we worked through when would the billing need to take place in order to collect the funding that we need for that fiscal year. And then it's kind of 3 things that we needed to figure out at the same time. When the rates would have to be changed, when the usage periods would occur, and then when the billing would happen. Because we don't want to bill people at different rates for water they've already used. That just can't be done. It's not fair to folks. So we've already changed the rates here. we will run, we're doing a reading right now that will bill people at the old rates from March until the end of July. Then the new rates will take effect in August, and we'll do that until the end of December, and then have billing in January. That's a transition to get us to 4 bills a year, because that will be 2 5-month periods. Then starting on January 1st, running through a usage period that ends at the end of March, that'll be the first quarterly usage period, and we will bill for that. We'll read in April, read in April and then bill in May, so that this puts us in a period where the usage is the quarters that people can understand, and then the billing will occur August, November, February, and May. So it puts us on 4 billing cycles that will then line up with the fiscal year. And it'll help Tony because the usage will run on the calendar year, which is what he needs to report to DEP. And then we will set the rates. We'll plan to do that in March so that the billing cycle that runs from the usage cycle that runs from April to June can be set for that new rate. And we'll have already drafted our budget at that point so we can reflect the new costs that we anticipate. So I think that this cycle should work really well. If I'm leaving anything out, I have a feeling Tony will text me and tell me. But I think this should put us in a really good position for the future. And then there's a transition in there that bills people fairly based on the rates that were just set, and transitions well to the quarterly.
I appreciate you guys working on this to help us out with that. I sort of like the idea,
I do too.
so
That's a
do
good
we
idea.
need a motion then?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the new water sewer billing schedule to 4 times per year, February, May, August, and November of each year, and a transition period this year with billings in September and February.
motion made,
Second.
motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carries. So again, thank you guys for working out the billing thing. That's a big help, I think, to us in the town. Topic 7, we have a resignation from Nicholas Hebert from the Rec Commission. I'll need a motion on that.
With thanks to Nick, I will make a motion. Well, thanks for doing what he did, I should say. I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Nicholas Hebert from the Recreation Commission.
Motion made and seconded, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Yes, and let's make sure we send Nicholas a letter of thank you for his years on the rec committee. And unfortunately, due to job constraints and other issues, he was unable to continue serving. And we're looking at an appointment of Holland Holgren to Open Space Committee.
I'll make a motion to appoint Holland Hoagland to the Open Space Committee.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. No opposition to that motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank that person for Holland for getting into that committee too. We need people.
Absolutely.
We need people.
Yes. Appointment of Cheryl Stevens as election worker.
I'll make a motion to appoint Cheryl Stevens as an election worker.
Motion made, motion seconded. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Cheryl.
And then there's a listing for reappointment of poll workers for the period of September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2026.
You were handed a updated version of that list. The earlier one
Okay.
did not include Karen Karowski, so she's been added to our list.
Okay, so we have the updated list and.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to reappoint poll workers for the period of September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposed? No, motion carries. Okay. We're getting finally to Marlo, DPW report. So why don't you come on down, Marlo? I know you've been sitting there patiently waiting. Again, folks, this is our new DPW director, Marlo, and he has his first DPW report for us as our new DPW director.
Okay, can you hear me? So do we want to talk about the highway superintendent full-time appointment first?
Okay.
You have a letter, a memo that I sent you. We interviewed, we had a posting from the 16th through the 30th of July. We received 2 applications internally. Both candidates were interviewed by Andrew and myself on the 31st of July. Both candidates interviewed very well. But at this point, I'm recommending Dwayne Meehan, who is the interim to full-time. Since I've come aboard, he's been a really big help. He definitely knows his business when it comes to highway and all the functions. He's dedicated. The crew responds to him real well. And the big thing for me is his communication to me. And his communication with the public, that's something we've really been focusing on since I came aboard. Getting right back to folks, letting them know when we can take care of something or when we can't take care of something. So there's been some very good input to me I've met a lot of people in the last month, and there's been good input on how Dwayne's handling the crew, the workload. They're seeing the workers working out there, and also the way he handles the public in response to them, in response to their issues. So at this time, I'm recommending him to full-time. He's very good at setting priorities. He jumped right into the Chapter 90. Him and I worked together with District 2. At this time, there's not a salary increase, but he was requesting a town phone, which is a stipend for $75 a month. That has changed. He's decided to take on a town phone and have the 2 phones. So he has his business phone, not his personal cell out to everyone. So the stipend at this point is not going to be needed. So it's a little change from last week's information to you.
I've heard a lot of good things about Dwayne, so I have no objection to your appointment. Any comments from my colleagues? Any opposition?
No, I like Dwayne. I look forward to him taking this job.
So I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Dwayne Meehan as highway superintendent.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so Dwayne is your new highway superintendent.
Thank you. So that will leave an operator's position open. I don't want to bounce around on the document I sent you, but since we're on the subject, that opens up a operator's position, and we also have one laborer's position open. That the best time to review a job description, in my opinion, is when somebody vacates a position. Best time to review them and send them along to the board for approval. So I did rewrite the operator's job description. And so as soon as we get approval from you with the operator, the laborer, and I also am introducing a new job description, but not a new addition to the highway department. But as soon as we get your approval on those job descriptions, I can at least get those out to advertisement, the operator and the laborer. The new job description is labeled as a crew chief. A lot of what I've been focusing on is chain of command. And I tried to put this in the best format I could for you, with everything going on and taking little pieces of everything and a little improvements at different times. So the crew chief position, it's not a higher paid position. It's a title, and it was written in such a way that they're going to be, for lack of better terms, the foreman on the job out there with the highway crew, boots on the ground with them doing projects. They will take orders from Dwayne and myself, priorities and whatnot. And hopefully we get a work order system going, and the work orders for the day or even for the week set priorities by Dwayne. And that individual as the crew chief will be working with the crew, keeping the crews moving from one priority to the next. Knowledgeable on, traffic safety, all that stuff, handling the stuff hands-on with those projects in the field with the crew. So I felt that title kind of fit. I've used it in other communities. So in Dwayne on his end, it's not really taking anything away from Dwayne. It's a matter of Dwayne having the time on instituting a work order system, instituting a safety program that we need to institute. We're kind of behind on that when it comes to OSHA and DLS and whatnot. So that, I didn't mean to jump all around. Like I said, those are before you tonight, I believe for taking a peek at.
I would say that the changes to the labor and heavy equipment operator positions are pretty small from the last time you would have seen them, but we want to give Marlo the opportunity to review and make some changes. And then the crew chief one is new for you to look at. Obviously, it's your first time seeing these tonight, so if you need to take more time with them, they can be approved at your next meeting. But there are also smaller changes especially for the heavy equipment operator.
I'm not seeing them in my packet. I could be.
And this was,
Oh, and the update.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
the updated one.
Okay, sorry.
Yep.
The only question I have about the crew chief function would be that in a town this size, we don't necessarily want to become too top heavy. You know what I mean? With a director and then a highway super, crew chief, operators, laborers. How do you see that working when there's no seasonals here and then there's less staffing on the DPW side?
Well, the crew chief is still would be responsible for operating equipment and laboring and whatnot. That's why I put the labor section in there. They're still responsible. If we only have a 3-person crew, the crew chief's going to hop in wherever they're needed. Say we're, doing an excavation of some sort, or maybe a small sidewalk replacement or something. They're going to be hands-on.
So it's more just outlining who the foreman of your operational crew is when Dwayne's unavailable to be on the job site.
Well, the other piece of it is rather than 4 or 5 people calling Dwayne throughout the day, they can deal with the crew chief.
Okay. Makes sense.
And again, I truly recognize the size of the department. And
Right.
I wanted to make it clear. In fact, we work with the union too on these. We wanted to make it clear that it wasn't another supervisor position, if you will.
So is it just a position with a title that outlines essentially who's in charge and establishes the chain of command, or is there a higher pay scale with it as well?
No higher pay scale at this point in time.
Okay, so it's just simply a title.
It'll be paid probably the operator's rate.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Makes
nothing
sense.
changing there. I mean, we can look at that later on down the road, but I'm just, I think last meeting I had said that we kind of got to establish the chain of command and reestablish the division, the highway division, and go from there.
Well, with that clarification, I don't have a problem.
So this isn't an additional position, this is just,
No.
and it would be the same as a heavy equipment operator,
Yes.
job description wise.
We have
Plus.
we have 2 heavy equipment operators already,
Mhm.
but again, the crew chief can fill in as a heavy equipment operator.
And this is okay with the union.
Yes. Yeah.
They reviewed this and approved. They had some edits, and this reflects their edits.
Yeah.
Even the crew chief?
Yes,
Yes. Yeah. In fact, those were the only edits out of the 3, I believe.
it was on the crew chief position.
It was like a sentence and a half or something like that. So,
And they agreed with the I don't know what the changes are that you made, whatever the changes are that you made in the other descriptions.
Yes, so they're mostly for format.
Right. Oh, okay. Understood then.
And mostly the heavy equipment operator was, I think that was the furthest behind. It was a lot of one sentence, like 4 pages, and I took and combined it and tried to format it to the last few that you all have done, and then the ones I was working on, trying to make them all look the same format.
Any other questions on job description?
The only last one that I have for heavy equipment operator, nowhere does it list that you have to have like a 2A, 1C or a 4G. It doesn't list any of that in here.
I generally go by what's required, as the licenses keep changing, you may know.
Right.
So I think it's in there, that I would determine what's needed for the position somewhere.
It just that when it, yeah, it,
There's hoisting license and Class B CDL.
Yes.
You just didn't say which
I don't,
minimum qualifications on the second page.
oh, yeah, my mistake. I glazed over that.
Perfect.
Yeah, and examples, if we got like over the guardrail mower, I'd have to add 4 Gs to
Right.
everyone. And I normally put in there whatever's required under Mass General Law or whatever to operate that piece of equipment, rather than have to come to the board if they make changes to
Right.
the different hoisting licenses and what's needed. Like you need a 4G for a true over the guardrail mower. The mower we're getting, we don't have to have that. But if we get into a position where we have to have additional endorsements on them hoisting, I can make that determination, as well as the highway superintendent, rather than, I could come back every 3 months as the state changes things and rewrite these things. So
No, that makes sense. That was
kind
my
of like a
mistake.
coverall.
I overread
Oh,
that. No problem. I'm good with everything.
I'm good with all this too. So I'll make a motion to approve the job descriptions for laborer, heavy equipment operator, and crew chief.
Second.
Okay, motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great.
Okay, continue with your DPW report. I do want to say I am impressed with receiving a handout from you on an update on what you've been doing. I really appreciate that.
It's amazing how much has changed since August 7th that I could have added to this or changed with updates, but stuff's moving fast right now with the projects. One other small personnel change is moving forward. I'm going to have the DPW mechanic report directly to me. And the reason for that at this point is I got to get my handle on the equipment. Also, I have a little bit of vested interest being a former mechanic myself. So I want to dig in and see, the fleet is what makes the town go. We work on everything over there. So I want to get kind of a handle on it and work directly with our mechanic on priorities and making everybody part of the discussion of equipment going forward too. So he's still going to report to the highway superintendent in snow and ice, but day to day, I want to talk to him more and more and at least every other day and start putting some stuff together. So it looks like we need a major cleaning out of the yard and in the shop too. So that'll be part of it come fall. So again, I've been really focusing on communication with the public, communication with Andrew, myself personally. I've had some very good conversations with the taxpayer. They've been excellent, actually, all of them. And I'm also trying to instill that in the superintendents as much as I can, because it's important that everyone knows where their dollars are going and what we're up to. And getting back to somebody in a timely manner is really important to me, always has been. So it was been going pretty smooth. You may have heard about the Mountain Road 5 and 10 intersection that was milled. It's a state project. There was no signage. They never put any transitions in. Bicycle had an accident there. People were going to start blowing tires. Potholes were forming. So Dwayne and I were working together. He was working at Mass DOT, and they finally got some signs out there. They painted the rings, and we ran it up the chain at Mass DOT, and it's supposed to be paved Thursday or Friday. So in case you all heard anything, we had a few that said they were going to bring it to the select board's attention because let's say we were having slow communication from the other side on that, but
The paver and the roller are there.
thank you.
So.
I saw the signs and the painted rings on the way home last night.
They
Finally
got dropped this afternoon, so it's a good sign.
Well, they're not going to leave it there long. Okay.
No.
So very good. Hatfield, just a few projects. I mean, you have all this. I actually met with the school superintendent today to get up on all 3 roofs and all 3 long ladders to get up on the roofs because we're having a walkthrough next week. And Andrew, jump in if I'm overlapping you because we're in a transition together too on projects and whatnot. So there's a walkthrough. I believe there was 7 for the roof and for the boilers. There was 7 companies that took out docks, which is a good sign. And it kind of dovetails into the parking lot and street paving. I got updated numbers. I met with a contractor yesterday. As of right now, for the roadway for Billings Ave in both school lots, we're looking at close to 1.1 million right now is the latest quote. But yeah, which I expected a little higher, which is good. But we're looking at, it's tricky on the timing. They actually suggested to me that we don't run all kinds of equipment on a brand new mat for up to 6 months to a year, especially in the heat, we've been having. So we could go through the FERCog bid and get the bids for parking lots, which we weren't in this year. But I think we need to stick to getting the bid out in January, February on our own, and we'll put that together so that we can get right in the queue for the contractor that gets the bid to get right in there as soon as school is out in the spring. In the meantime, it's our hope that we can get the boiler and the roof done before then. So it kind of reversed itself because we don't have time to get bids out for the paving and then them get to it this year anyways. So if you have anything to add, Andrew. So that's just my thinking at this point. So hopefully things will work out that way. Route 5 water and sewer. I've reached out for, I believe DPC, and I was requesting a copy of the video that was taken of the new sewer lines out there. They said they were in review and that I'd receive them as soon as they were done reviewing. So that's kind of where we're at on that project. Not much further to update at this point. So the grants, the Chapter 90 for the first time in, I think, since 2015, other than small supplemental amounts, the governor really added quite a bit of money to the road money this year, the Chapter 90. So these were approximate figures I put in here. I just got a new spreadsheet late this afternoon from District 2. I think I'm pretty close. And as far as what we're paving this year, Elm Street and that last 450 feet of Maple, is it? That we're going to do that whole stretch. That's in the hopper. They're going to mill and start raising basins the week of September 8th, and it's due to be paved the week of the 15th at this point of September. Subject to change with weather and schedules with paving contractors.
We can get that on the website at this time. Can we? Put that on the website?
I would caution weather permitting, because if it's not in the forecast, get a week of rain, it's going to throw the contractor off for a week on his other jobs.
Maybe let the schools know about that.
Yeah. So I'm looking into a work order system. I chatted with the fire chief. He's got a system, and maybe I can dovetail off that to save the town some money. Him and I will meet and talk about that, and I'll take a peek at it and see what he's using, and maybe we just pay a portion of it and we get our module in there too, so, for a better cost. The new F-550 has arrived. It's all set, ready to go. We're just waiting on the plow. We had to order the plow for it, so. And I think I put in here the other vehicles. One's due in October, the water truck, and the sewer truck hasn't hit production yet, so I don't have a date on that. I'm guessing that's gonna be one of those, it'll be 9, 10, 11, 12 months out, which is pretty standard ordering a new truck today that's needs to be built. And the Council on Aging van is about a year away before we see it. So we just recently put it all back together in the shop in recent days, so. Do you have, let's see. I'm looking into the transfer station compactor replacement. Apparently we have some money set aside from a few years ago. So I'm gonna see if I can, the floor on that thing's getting pretty thin, so it needs a lot of work. So I'm looking into that. And then Tony had mentioned a potential voluntary water ban late this afternoon. I haven't talked to him, only because of the weather forecast and what he's running for numbers. And we can get more information to you on that when we get to it. Anything else? Any questions or?
No, you gave us an update also on the logging of forestry.
Oh, yes. If there's any, I just received that. I didn't really review it. I got it late this afternoon. And we pulled the numbers off Vadar for the actual grant and the appropriation, remaining funds that you have a copy of. So
have they started up there or they're not?
excuse me?
They've started cutting already or?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So where up there were they cutting? Is it where you have the tree farm? Is it on this side or is it up further?
It's, so when you come up Mountain Road up to the tree farm, and there's that dirt road on the left, that's
Yeah.
Reservoir Road that goes to the backside of the reservoir. That's where they started. their
Okay, that's where they're
Yeah,
cutting. Okay.
it's some of the larger timber through there. This phase 2 that's in our packet is going to be to the southwest, so more where the trail entrance is and the other entrance to the water department. It's going to be some of the timber that's in there, as well as when you continue down the road through the dirt portion before you would turn left onto rocks. There's some old fire roads in there, and there's some plantation red pine that is all beetle kill and dying, and there's a lot of invasives in there. So one of the things that the forester outlines is that there's going to need to be some management in that area that ultimately, since you're not producing timber off of it, is going to cost some sort of dollar figure, but may be able to be offset with proceeds from the other timber harvesting.
I mean, that was sort of the idea to get money in and then
Correct.
attack the invasives up there
Yeah.
where we can.
So they have there is an invasive removal company called Tangled Roots Landscaping. They go through and they pull invasives by hand in some of the more sensitive areas. So that is still being done, but there's going to need to be some pretty large mechanical control of some of it in like those beetle killed areas and stuff, where there's not going to be a lot of production of marketable timber. So
Anyways, that's been a 5-year process.
Right.
It's happened.
But it
We're
seems-
moving along. That's a good
yeah,
thing.
things are moving in a good direction overall. So
Perfect.
the land needed to be cut and managed, and that's exactly what they're doing. So they're doing a very good job with it. So
Nice.
The one other update I got late last week after I had sent this in was the treatment plant project. They got the stairs in, they're moving right along on that building, so.
Well, looking good. Marlo, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So any more questions for Mr. Warner? I
No
guess
question?
then you can get home.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Please pass the word if anybody needs anything. I finally got a desk phone that works now too, so anybody has a concern, complaint, work order, send them our way.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Topic 9, Town Administrator Report.
Yep, I'll be very brief since meeting's going along nicely. You have the report from me in your packet. We've already talked about group insurance trust. You've heard a great update from Marlo. We also were working on a couple things around energy management in the last couple weeks and facilities. So that was good. I've recently joined the Massachusetts Municipal Association's Municipal and Regional Administration Policy Committee. They had an extra spot on that and offered to me, which I'm very excited to be a part of. I had our first meeting last month and discussed the number of bills that are priority for MMA. And one of them that they talked about kind of some early thoughts on the Chapter 61A right of first refusal process. So that affects some of our land that's in agricultural chapter support. So that was interesting to hear some thoughts on that. I'll be sure to keep everyone updated on things that I hear from what's going on in the state. So it'll be useful. Smith Academy carpets got started yesterday. Already started. Not sure how many rooms they finished so far, but carpet is down in a couple rooms already. So that will be done before the start of the school year. Teachers come back, I think the 25th. So by end of next week, they will be done.
Nice.
Plan. So they're moving
That's
really
fantastic.
quickly. We'll get some more guys on the crew, but it looks like it's going really well. I'm not sure how in-depth all of you were aware of this, but unfortunately, they did not have the purple trim that the superintendent wanted to install in the rooms, so we had to go with a steel blue color instead. So we will not have purple trim on all the carpets. Make of that what you will, but it's going to end up looking pretty good. And then the bylaw review committee met again today. Marlo was there. Good meeting. We'll keep you updated on our progress there. There's an interest in getting some help from an outside vendor called eCode 360 that helps with the reformatting and then the online posting of the bylaws in a pretty user-friendly format. If you've ever seen how Hadley or some other towns post their bylaws, it looks pretty sharp. And I didn't realize just how much support that they offer for kind of the transition process as well. It's vetted by some municipal lawyers and other things. So it could be a helpful thing for us to consider in that committee. We'll brief you more on that in the future. And that's all I have for tonight. The next thing that I had on the agenda under my report was continue our discussion around select board goals. And I did pass out to you both the whole summary matrix of goals and actions that came from the comprehensive plan, as well as a 2-page version that just had the goals, so not all the actions, but the goals that identified the select board as either responsible or as in a support role. So that's for your review. Happy to start going through some of that tonight, or we can save it for our next meeting. You can read through it more and be ready for the next meeting. So I leave that to the discretion of the chair.
Oh, wow. I mean, we've already had a long meeting. Unless you guys want to continue on the matrix and,
I think it'd be a good topic to take up.
okay,
I agree.
Sounds great.
sounds like a plan. Okay, next meeting, we'll put that at the beginning of the
Yeah.
topics.
Happy to.
Okay, so that brings us to topic 9. So, no, we're done with topic 9. So topic 10, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30, Section 21A2, conduct strategy sessions and preparations for negotiation with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and we will not be coming back into open session. Do I have a second on that?
One second.
Jaworski, aye.
I'm going to be recusing myself from this
Okay.
executive session based on the advice of the State Ethics Committee.
Okay, so I had a second, and we have one abstain due to the reasoning, and so I guess
So roll
we're
call vote to
moving into executive session.
you should just do the vote to move into executive session.
Okay, Jaworski, aye.
And I.
Very good.
Thank you, John, and have a good night.